Hi Jen. Hi Kitty. Jen. Hi Kitty. Right, hi Alison. Hi. Oh Jen, how did you make out with the set? It was quite good. There are still a few kits left of Cal's, and there are quite a few Christmas and Halloween kits that I didn't get to. But I thought it was perhaps a little bit early in the year for Christmas and Halloween. So I don't know what anyone else thought. What about perhaps doing the same thing again and going through all the kits, but doing it kind of September time in the run up to Christmas or Halloween? Don't know, what do people think about that? Never too early for Christmas. Yeah, but Jen, we've only just got our sunny summer weather. So yeah, I would like to enjoy the sunshine before I start planning on Christmas and Halloween. Oh, Linda's just posted she can't find us. Oh, let me just send her a quick message. I know what I can do. Linda. Let's see if she can find us. Grumble, grumble. Yeah, I like to enjoy what bit of summer we do get, so, you know. Let's see what's going on. Okay, I don't know what's happening with anyone else's Facebook, but it's telling me I've got no comments written, but I can see 4. So, yeah, don't know what's happening there. Facebook's having a bit of a hissy fit, so never mind. Okay, so we're going to finish off the envelope book that we started last week. It's a really quick, it's not an envelope book at all, it's a paper bag book. It's quite a quick and easy book to make. It does say on the embellishments on this kit that they are wooden shapes. However, to me, they feel more plasticky, so no idea what's going on there. So let's move these up there, then I can see what I'm working with. So you do get, I think it's 10, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and yeah, so you get 10 little wooden bits and pieces. Now with these, what I did, as well as actually cutting these out, or fussy cutting these out, front and back, you get 4 of these. Now these actually have border strips on the back, so I took all 4 out, and then I cut the border strips down ready. So I've got 3 of those ready, and then I cut these 6 by 6, so 3 is the middle. And I think I did trim these down a little bit more, just to make them more even around the edges. So when you're decorating, you do need to trim your papers down slightly. So I'm going to use the little birdhouse papers on the front, so that will just fit width-wise. And then I'm just gonna make a little mark to cut it down so it's the right height. Okay, so that will just fit on the front of the book. Now, am I going to ink? No, I'm not inking the edges. Just because, yeah. Oh, okay, quick poll. Do we want green side showing or white side showing? Any preferences? No? Okay, we'll go with white. So I want the white side showing, put the glue on the green. So I'm going to pop that on there. Okay. Now, if you remember last week, we made our pockets, but with this, because it is paper bags and it's easier to do the full page behind it, just because they're a bit flimsy and a bit floppy. It's easier to mat your papers first and then to stick your pocket on top. Yeah, so now some of these, not these, Some of these papers are actually pearlised, so just make sure that's flat. Now with these, your borders will need trimming just a little bit, so I'll get the ruler, and that's 2 inches. So if I trim this down to just under the 2 inches and get it straight. And your pocket is 5 3/4. So I'm going to chop off the beehive, or part of it. The bees can still get in the front. So that will fit nicely on the pocket. Like that. Don't put too much glue on, because with it being warm it will ooze out of the sides. Okay, and just centre that in the middle. Has anyone been up to anything exciting today, or is it just too warm? Now for this piece, you can either use one piece and just tuck it in behind, or you can use 2 separate pieces. It depends what you do. Have quite a lot of paper left over. Evening Lorraine, Evening Carol. So I think I'm gonna use this. So we know that it's too high, so I'm just going to trim that down. Now if I pop this on here, I can just make a little mark top and bottom and trim that down. So we know that's going to go on there. Now this is just going to fit on there. I might trim a little bit off the edge, or yeah, we'll do it that way. Now this one is one of the pearlised one, but I don't know if it shows on screen if it's pearly or not. But it is a really, really pretty paper. So let's stick that on there. And again, we're just going to stick this one on here. And get those in. So I'm sure you all know how to layer up your papers. Now again, with this pocket that we cut out last week, what paper should I use? Right, I'm going to use the bumblebee paper on that side. Now this one has got the, I don't know if it shows very well on screen, the bee's wings are a UV spot, so they are quite shiny. They do reflect quite well, but it doesn't really pick up in the, that may be in the light. So I'm going to use that one there, and to tie in there is another bumblebee one, so I'm going to use that one on that side, and let's see how we get on with that. So height wise it's just under the 5. So that just fits on there like that. And line it up straight. Now this one, again, make sure they're the right way up, and just under the 5 inches. Now for this one I need to mark out, this is going to sit on here, so we only need to, so that I can cut it up. It's just about 3 inches. And put the green one on. So we'll stick that one on there. Now on this side I'm going to do the white one, or the paler one, with the blue on this side, so all sort of 3 pages tie in together. So again, this one, I'm having white side up, I like it. There you go. And then I'm going to put the opposite side on there, just to be a little bit different, but you can put the same side of the papers on. It's entirely up to you. Now for this pocket, I should have let the glue dry before I opened it. We're just going to do a photo mat to fit in there. So I'm going to cut the card down to 5 inches and 4 inches. So that will give me a photo mat that just pops in there. Okay. So hi Janelle, hi Tracy, hi Wendy. Oh yes, definitely have your food first. Now these do fit, but I'm just going to trim it down so you've not got the blue edges around it. If you wanted, you could fussy cut and layer them up, which I may or may not do later. So I've just cut the blue edges off, and that will fit nicely onto the corner pocket that we made last week. So I'm just going to pop I just put repositionable tape on it to hold them in place so I didn't lose them. So I'll get my glue out and pop a bit of glue on each side. Line that up at the bottom, and because it's a bit bulky, if you hold it down a couple of minutes, it will just hold. The glue will grab. So again, there we've got our little mouse with flowers. So there you go, and you've got another place there to put a photo mat, or you can put that 5 by 4 inches will work in a lot of the pockets. You can pop that in there. Now for these pieces, I actually used the cutouts from the inside covers of the books, purely because although these are cardstock, they are not as bulky. I don't know if this will show. These are quite chunky, so if you put too many of them in the book, they will bulk the book out quite a lot. Yeah, it does show it quite well, that. Just catch up. Hi Linda, you found us. Hi Lynn. So why did I use a different glue? I used the Sticks 2 glue for all my pockets and structure bases of the books, but because at the minute that is really runny because it's quite warm, I've been using this for just attaching the papers, a Collal all-purpose glue, because it doesn't stick as quick. So if I put, let me show you. If I put a piece of paper down and it's not quite right, it does give it a little bit of wiggleability. I don't know if that is a real word or not, but it is now. So on this one, if I pop the glue on the back and just line that up, I can then, if I get it wrong, I can still move it for I don't know, a minute or two, just so that I can get it exactly right. But with the pocket, let me remove the removal, I want it to grab quicker so that it doesn't move, because I don't want the pocket to move. I want the pocket to stay there, which is why I use the Sticks 2. It is just because it is really warm in my craft room tonight, so that's why. Now I'm going to go a bit rogue. Again, this I don't know if it's a wisteria or a grapevine. It could be either. Again, has got the UV spot on the grapes or flowers. You just about see it there, which is really pretty, but I'm going to use the other side. So the pocket from last week was 3 by 3, so if I cut it just under, so I can pop that down, and even if I get it really wrong like that, I can then just move it across and make sure it's straight. And if you do get a bit of glue easing out, if you rub it off or just rub it, it kind of balls up on your fingers and then it just brushes away. Not sure if that's a technical term or not. So again, we've got this pocket in the middle here. Now because I've done them, I'm going to do a different pattern on this side. So Ooh. Right, I'm going to use this one on here. And I think, yeah, I'm just going to trim it down a little bit. Does anybody else end up with bits of card everywhere that never actually make it into the bin because they miss every time? So I'm going to stick that on this side of there, just so that it flows across like that. Now turn that over. No worries, Nicole. Yeah, the collal does tend to give a better, it doesn't dry. If you're making something like a book structure, I would always go for the sticks too, because it's stronger, it's it grabs quick, it doesn't wrinkle paper. It's a really good glue. But at the minute, with this weather that we've got at the minute, not that I'm complaining, I love it, but I just find more as well if I'm putting papers on and I don't know if I can guarantee that I'll put them on straight, I'll probably use the glue, the collal glue, and just to know that I can just wiggle it if it's a little bit off. I can just wiggle it to make sure I've got enough room. So again, I'm just going to trim this down. Now, the amount I'm trimming off the top of the pages, as you can see, it's a little bit over an inch, but if you make cards, you can always make them up, do patterns with them, anything like that really. So yeah, I'm glad it's not just me that gets bits everywhere. Tidy worker, Nicole, I'm coming to your house because I've never been a tidy worker. I'll tidy up at the end of a project, but while I'm going through and the creativity is flowing, Carol all the time bought. But yeah, I've got a bigger bin. Well, actually I've got two bins. I've got a small IKEA bin that sits on my desktop, but then I have a great big bin that just sits down at the side of me on the floor. Now I'm gonna use not sure whether that's too green or whether to use that one. I'm going to go for the paler one for now. So again, trim it down to 5 inches, just under the 5 inches. Let's have a look. Paper weaving, that's the word I was looking for. Thanks, Nikki. I always say I'm going to do something with my odds and ends. Doesn't always work out. But what I do, if I've got any biggish pieces, like say that, I have a carrier bag on a handle behind the door, and any biggish pieces that I know I'm never going to use again, I drop in there, and when the carrier bag's full, I take it to the children's ward at the hospital, and it just gives them something to play with while they're in hospital. So yeah, I've done that so far. So on this one, as you can see, because they are paper bags, they're never dead straight, but it'll still work. I'm going to use the springers sprung on one side, the spotty again on that side. Now again with this one, I'm just going to trim that down to size. And pop that on there. Now this does have a lot of words on it, but it's all springy, happy, jolly words. And then the pocket that we made last week will just sit. I've made the pocket slightly shorter than the pages, just because they are quite flimsy. So I didn't want to risk catching the edge of the page. So pop the pocket on. There we go. Okay, just leave a little bit of a gap, roughly the same size at both sides and underneath. Okay, so one of our borders that we cut out. So I'm going to trim that down just a little bit. Oh, yeah, my bin's very posh, Nico. It's IKEA special. That's a good idea, Jen, but that would mean me actually making the cards up, which I'm not very good at remembering to do. Unless somebody says, have you got a card? They can give me a month's notice, but I'll always remember about 2 days before. So that'll just sit nicely on there. Okay, Lorraine. Oh yeah, why is it called a strawberry moon? I thought it was because it was kind of red. But apparently it's only red at the minute because of the volcano in Italy erupting, and that's what's made it go red. But what makes it a strawberry moon? Nobody knows. It's not just me then. So again, these are just 3 inches each. Just double check that one. That's just over 3 inches. I'll do it slightly over. Ooh. Nobody knows why it's called Strawberry Moon. Think twice before you put the glue on the wrong side. Just line that up. Ask Alexa. It's to do with an ink. Yeah, what did we do without Alexa? So just got these bits. I'm going to pop that one on there. And I'm going to use the See, every day is a school day. I learn something new every day. Okay, so I'm going to pop this one on here. And make sure it's lined up straight. And then pop that one on there. Now for this back piece, I'm going to do it in 3 pieces. I'm going to use the tulips. So I need to trim it down to size, which is just under the 5 inches. Then when this is folded over and got your photos in, it's going to be a bit chunky. So I will just make a rough mark with my pencil, put a strong ruler underneath and just fold it up like that, and then we know that's where it's going to come that way. And then if we measure about 1 inch across, because it's going to be around about 1 inch deep. And again, just pop your ruler on and just fold it up. So let me rub that pencil mark out. So if we start from here, we pop this on there, leaving a little bit of a reveal. I need to cut that there. So let's just move that along and cut that there. I tried growing strawberries again this year, but the birds ate them before I got to them, which is not nice. Okay, so we know that was 1 inch. So that's just under 4. So 1 inch would be just under 3. But I want it probably about 3/4, so I'm going to trim it there. So that will fit just in between on the, it's not really a spine, but spine sounds better than fold it up a bit. Okay, so I'll just pop that on there, and then this bit will just slide into the top of that pocket there. Yeah. I love strawberries. I could eat a whole punnet's worth at once. Strawberries always remind me it's nearly Wimbledon season. So that then folds over like that. So now I need to cut something to go there. So what I'm going to do, I think I'll use the same paper so it's a little bit matchy. So if I pop that on there, that needs to be trimmed about there. Make sure I've got the right side out. So that's going to sit on there like that. Okay, so that sits like that. Now I need to put paper on the back. I'm going to use the bumblebees on the back. So again, make sure they're the right way up. And pop that on the back like that. Okay, so that's all your pages decorated. She says, making sure she's not missed any. Okay, so I cut this down again to 5 inches and then cut it at 4. So all your photo mats in this book are roughly the same size. So you've got one that fits in there, one that fits in there, you've got one there, you have got more. You could put another pocket on the bottom. You can use as much or as little as you like. I'll come back to that in a minute. Again, you could put another border on there, you could put another pocket on there. I've missed one. Put that down to 5 inches by 4 inches. So you've got another photo mat there and one there. Oh, I need another one. Now, in the pocket here, I'm going to get my big trimmer out, and I'm going to cut this at, basically I'm just cutting it in half, which is 4 1/8. Okay, so that now measures 11 3/4. Okay, so I'll use that one. I'm going to score it at 4 inches. Then at 8 inches. So you fold that in half. In fact, it is a little bit too long. So because I know where that score is, I'm just going to take that down to 2 inches at the end. And then just fold that over. So if it's 4 inch and 40, it should fold over nicely, but it's going too fast. So I'm just going to redo that score line. So that it folds nicely like that. So now you've got a little booklet that opens up. I would decorate the front and that bit, and you've just got a little booklet that folds over and can pop into your pocket. Just open into your pocket like that. And then what I've done, each of these pockets has got a, I think it's a 5.5 by 4.5 photo mat in each pocket, but you can make as many or as little photo pockets as photo mats as you like. You can do, fold that in half, which is 5 5/8. Fold that in half. Oops. Line it up and burnish that down. So you can just pop that in. So when that comes out, you can get 4 photographs on one of those, or you can just do single-sided photo mats like we have there. There is, and fix that. Right, I'm going to trim that down to 4¼ inches. And then on this one, so it's 8¼ wide, so I'm going to score it at 3 3/4, and then 7.5. Hi Nancy. So fold this over, and then fold that one over. And what you can do, my scoreboard's off tonight, is just fold that over like that. And then if you have a big bite or a crocodile or a hole punch, so we know that's 4.5 inches or 4¼ inches. If you then in the middle just pop 2 holes like that, what you can then do is, right, my green ribbon's in another room, so I'm just going to use purple because it'll show up for you. If you thread the ribbon through the back of the hole, I think I might have chopped a bit too much off, but never mind. Just poke it through. And tie a bow. I hope you're all better at tying bows than I am. So if you just tie a bow like that, and trim the ribbon off, your bow will be so much nicer than that. But now you've got a little, you can decorate these up and just pop it open, and it'll open up, and you've got more room to put your photographs on. Or you can just do plain photo mats, just white card and pop them on. Or you can do concertina, if you just concertina them up and pop them inside like that. Now the closure on this one, again, I'm going to, because the green ribbon isn't very close at hand, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what I did with purple so it does show up on screen. Where is the end? Okay, there it is. So I popped the ribbon round. Now I actually laid it on a little bit of double-sided tape just to keep it in place while you do your decorating. So just pop that onto the double-sided tape, and then you get your embellishments, your 3D embellishments, and then you can decide, do you want a house on it, sorry, a potting shed, a beehive, do you want the mouse in the middle? Quite like the mouse. Put some little picket fence at the bottom and put the welly down there. Now remember that this bit will close, so you don't want to put anything underneath this side. So I think that's about right for there. So I'll use the sticks to glue for this because it will grab and hold it a bit better. So don't forget that double-sided's under there, but that's fine. Just press that on and hold it for a minute or two just to make sure that it grabs. And then I'm going to put the welly on. Down there. Birdhouses in the corner. I'm going to stick the birdhouses up in that top corner. So I'm going to cut the ribbon out there so that once this is folded up, you can then, using your ribbon, if you're really good, and tie make sure it's straight-ish, and tie a bow, and that will keep your book closed. Don't know what's wrong with me tonight, I can't tie a bow. There we go. Yeah, so I have gone quite mad with that. I could put the little picket fence down at the bottom. There is quite a lot of give in the book. You can really stuff it with photos and things, or tickets if you go anywhere. So there is, and because you've got that ribbon closure, you can make it as fat or as thin as you want. So it is a fairly quick and easy book. you just need to work from the back forward, with it being a paper bag book. Once you've kind of got the hang of it, it's not too bad, but it is easier if you do it bit by bit, and do that. So that's the paper bag book finished. Now, next week, if you put a shape on the back, yes, definitely all fingers and thumbs today, Helen. I don't know what's wrong. Next week, I was going to do a quick stash busting, maybe scrapbook layouts, and if you've got papers left over from things like this, how you can use these in scrapbook layouts. Obviously you know how to fussy cut out, but how you can use things like this on a scrapbook layout. And then the week after, I was going to start this, which is just over, I think it's 8 1/4 by 8 1/4, and it's using the Stamperia Hortensia paper. I think that's how you say it, I'm not quite sure. I tried doing this with white card and cream card, and it just didn't look right. So a quick flick through. Obviously photo mats, you can place your photo in there underneath. Again, here you've got a place for your photo here. On this you've got 2 envelopes, and again you've got photo mats that pop out of those. This page is a little bit different. It is all one page. That's why I had this ribbon on my desk, and just pop your photo there. And again, I've not stuck that down completely because the photo will just slide underneath, and I'll talk you through how we do that. Again, photo mat there. This is an acetate page, which is very hard to show on screen, but obviously you can see through to the bit at the back. So I'll talk you through how we do that. This is one of the pages, and again, you've got places to put your photos. More places for photos there, and then a pocket on that page where you can put your tags and photos in, and then pages there, photo there. Again, that's not quite stuck down until the photo gets in, and just a little booklet to put more photos in at the back. Oh, what's Helen saying? Let me just have a look. It is a beautiful paper pack, Nicole. Yes, it is. Yeah, they do flip and flop very nicely. But I just thought something a little bit different, and I don't know if you can see, it's not ribbon, it's seam binding, and there's also some pearl ribbon, and some lace there. So this kit will be in the shop. It should be live already, but if not, it will be in the next 10 minutes. So you get 2 full paper packs, all your lilac card, your doilies, your ribbons, your lace, your trim, and we'll start that not next week, the week after. Okay, so thank you very much for joining me tonight, and we'll go through and I'll just show you how to do some scrapbook layouts next week with bits that we've got left over, and then we'll start the Hortensia book the week after, which will be the 25th of June, I think. Okay, if there's anything else you'd like me to go through, if you drop me a message, I'll see what I can do, but I can't make any promises. we'll see what happens. But yeah, keep all your bits and pieces together and we can go through. And I'll see you all next week. Thanks for joining. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.